Hello and welcome back to the Always Bayern Chelsea show, everyone. Today is Wednesday, November 27th. As I'm recording this, I'll likely have it out on the 29th, which is a Friday, and man, these matches just keep coming. This is a busy week, of course, here stateside. It is Thanksgiving week, one of my favorite holidays, and yeah, man, am I thankful for club football, Bayern Munich, football in general. This has been awesome to dive in and go head first into Bayern Munich. But I do want to talk about the Bayern Munich match against PSG in the Champions League. Massive win for Bayern Munich. 1-0 was the final. Chelsea playing Heidenheim as well in the Conference League. So yeah, like I said, these matches just keep coming, and there's a lot to talk about as always. It's a fun run of matches we got going on here, but let's jump into this Champions League match. Starting off with the lineup for Bayern Munich, we had Manuel Neuer in between the sticks. As always, left back was Alphonso Davies. The center back combination was Kim and Upa. Konrad Laimer started at right back. The midfield was Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka. The attacking setup was Kingsley Coman on the left wing, Jamal Musiala at the 10, Leroy Sané at the right wing, and Harry Kane up at the 9. So this was a really fun match, I thought, to watch, just as a fan in general. Sure, it wasn't perfect for Bayern Munich, of course, but I enjoyed the match a lot. I enjoyed how they made so many chances and dominated a large portion of the match. That's not to say that PSG was flat or awful by any means. They had their own chances in there too, but yeah, as I said in my short, which is up on YouTube, go check that out, the YouTube channel, Always Bayern Chelsea. Jim and I do reactions right after the match to all the matches. But as I said, I thought the final score could have been something like 3-1. You know, there was a lot more action than the 1-0 scoreline represented. But yeah, let's just jump right in here and kind of go through the match, because I thought it started off very well for Bayern Munich. They were dominating possession, kind of dominating the flow of the match, and we saw some really good-looking shots there. I believe it was Jamal Musiala and Leroy Sané who got shots off in the beginning that the keeper had to save. And then Kingsley Coman might have had a shot or two in there, but I just want to pause for a moment and talk about Kingsley Coman, because I think he is getting a little bit too much playing time right now, and that's not to say that he's a bad player. He certainly was disruptive, and he certainly was an agent of chaos in this one. A lot of times blowing by defenders with his speed and doing great things with the ball and without the ball. But at the end of the day, his crossing and his finishing just wasn't there, and that's what we've seen from Kingsley Coman for a while now. So I have to think that's just who he is, There were a couple shots in this match that I think most people would have buried, or at least most players on Bayern Munich at that wing position would have buried. So that was frustrating to see, I'm not going to lie. And then same with his crosses, which has been off the last couple of games. And like I said, I think that's honestly just what you're going to get out of him at this point in his career. So I would look to start Sané at the left wing and Michael Olise at the right wing in your biggest matches if I was company. I've said that for a little while now. And I would rotate in Serge Gnabry and Kingsley Coman, throughout as I see fit. Certain matches I would probably start maybe Coman or Gnabry as well. But yeah, both of them seem to be slowing down at the moment, both of them meaning Coman and Gnabry. But anyways, we got into the 38th minute, and we saw the only goal of the match. Oddly enough, for a match that seemed pretty open at times, the only goal of the match came off of a corner. And yeah, Joshua Kimmich kicked the corner in. We saw the keeper on PSG jump up and kind of graze the ball. Like, he should have either punched it away very far or tried to catch it, I guess, but instead he was caught in the middle of those two things, and it was just a mistake, like plain as day, a mistake that I'm sure he wishes he would have back, and one that he doesn't make very often. But the ball just kind of hits off his gloves and it ends up right in the pathway of Kim Min-jae. And yeah, Kim takes a step in and heads the sucker right into the back of the net for a really heroic and euphoric moment. The crowd at the Allianz Arena was going crazy, and it was an awesome moment for Kim. I want to say it was his first Champions League goal, and he was ecstatic. You could see him and Upa especially celebrating, because I think that Kim and Upa have been the recipients of a lot of criticism over the last 2 years. I mean, we saw massive mistakes from those two in the Champions League that really cost Bayern Munich a couple of matches there. Definitely the first match against Real Madrid last year in the Champions League. So to see these two playing with so much confidence, and to see Kim get a goal like that, and honestly to see them both playing so well right now, it's just awesome. You can tell it means so much to them. So yeah, go ahead and watch that goal, watch the celebration, and it's just really the beauty of football. You know, you can see the redemption in both of their games, because as of right now, Kim and Upa have been playing incredible in all facets of the game. 7 clean sheets in a row for Bayern's defense. You know, we saw the season start off, and we saw the same questions being asked that we were asking last year of the defense on Bayern Munich, but you know, I think after that 4-1 blowout loss to Barcelona, Vincent Kompany made some adjustments. He definitely dropped the back line a little bit. The team is still aggressive in their attacking and in their pressing, but the back line is slightly farther back. And as far as I'm concerned, I think Kimmich's positioning in the midfield is a little bit different, and maybe some of this has to do with the injuries that we've seen in the midfield. But lately, I've been seeing Joshua Kimmich drop much farther back and form a back three with Upa and Kim at times to provide that extra cover, and it seems to be working because, like I said, 7 clean sheets in a row for that defense. So I just wanted to, give Kim his flowers, and really Upa and all of the defense, Neuer as well. But that was a very exciting moment, a very, euphoric moment for everybody. And then right after that, we did see Kingsley Coman miss a very, very simple shot, which in my mind would have most likely put the match away. It was, it might have been an attack that was started by Neuer. I can't remember if it was this one or a different one, but regardless, Coman kind of had a 1v1 situation with the keeper where he could have maybe went to the far post and just hit a shot low on the ground, or he could have chipped it over the keeper's head, and what he tried to do was chip it over the keeper's head, but the ball just landed on top of the net and didn't go in. I don't want to harp on Coman too much, and yeah, it was unfortunate because, like I said, I think that would have put the match away, because after that moment, end of the first half, beginning of the second half, Bayern dropped their level a little bit and PSG really picked things up. And it looked like they were going to score, honestly. They had a lot of good chances. But one of the reasons why they didn't was because Neuer really put up a vintage performance, if you ask me. He had some incredible saves in this one. And yeah, I mean, there are so many people that are giving him hate this year for his performances throughout the season, but I remain steadfast in my conviction that I want him as my keeper this year. There's nobody else I want, and I know it's a little bit of live and die by the sword with Neuer. I mean, hell, even in this match, he was making passes around the middle of the pitch, and he was dribbling defenders, which is just crazy to say about a keeper, especially in a matchup of this magnitude. So yeah, just an incredible performance by Neuer all around. Passes, starting attacks, shot stopping, everything. He really just did it all in this one. But yeah, then in the 56th minute, I believe it was, we did see Dembele get a red card on PSG, so they were down to 10 guys. Really just a boneheaded play by him, and it was 2 yellow cards. So he got a yellow card in the first half for arguing with the ref, didn't need to do that. And then the second yellow card came in the second half when he took down Alphonso Davies from the back as Davies was making a run. Again, just boneheaded. You don't have to do that. As you're playing with 1 yellow card that you're going to be on thin ice, and he really cost his team there, which is a bummer because, the match was and would have been more competitive with him on the pitch. He was great when he did play, I thought. It looked incredibly dangerous, making runs, and I think even had a really good shot or two in there. That was just a bummer for the neutral, but good for Bayern. And you'd think at this point that Bayern would be able to close out the match, but they really didn't. Like I said, the offense was disruptive and controlling a lot of the match, but they didn't, find the back of the net except for that one time. They weren't able to finish. Their execution was off. And, that will be a problem facing better teams, sure, but I also like the way that we're playing overall in terms of how we're controlling the ball and the creative things that we're doing. So I guess you can look at it one of two ways. You can say, oh, this sucks, we're not going to beat the best of the best of the best playing like this, but you can also look at it and say, maybe some of these shots just didn't fall today. The match could have easily been won by, 2-3 goals. And PSG's no slouch of a team. They're the best team in France. They're one of, Europe's top teams. I wouldn't say one of Europe's top teams, but they're in that group of solid teams in Europe. So to beat them, it's no small feat, especially because Bayern Munich has not done well against the best teams that they've played this year. That's been one criticism you could make of Kompany and of the players as a whole, was that they haven't been able to beat that upper echelon of teams. They got crushed by Barcelona. They drew Frankfurt in the Bundesliga, and then they drew Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, and lost to Villa in the Champions League as well. So this win was much needed in terms of, I think, boosting morale, I guess, and maybe silencing some of the critics at the moment. But it was also needed in terms of the standings in the Champions League, because Bayern Munich was sitting at the bottom portion of the table, barely making the cutoff for the whatever they're calling it, the round where you have to play another match to advance. Right now they're sitting at 13th, so they're still in that group, but things are looking a lot better for them as they kind of got their toughest competition in the Champions League out of the way now. So it's the kind of situation where I think if they win out, they'll be able to make that top 8 and automatically qualify for the next round. So again, just a huge win for a number of reasons, but I guess back to the match now. The 72nd minute, we did see Serge Gnabry and Michael Olise come on, and in the 77th minute, we saw Thomas Muller come on. Not a good showing from Thomas Muller. I thought he looked very, very slow and lethargic to me, which was sad to see. I know he's getting up there in age, but at the beginning of the season, we saw him look a lot more lively, so I hope that this was just a one-off thing. But yeah, Muller just looked slow. He wasn't getting to balls that I thought he should have been getting to. This was probably his worst performance of the season. Again, it's a bummer. I'm glad that Kompany's rotating. I'm glad he's getting minutes. I'm glad Musiala is getting some rest, because Musiala is a guy who plays almost every minute for Bayern Munich. But I need to see more out of Thomas Muller going forward, and I think we will. Yeah, Bayern had a lot of chances, created a lot of chaos, and it was almost comical by the end of the match how they weren't putting more of those in the back of the net. There was a moment in the second half when Gnabry came on, and he had a shot that could have easily went in if his touch would have been a little bit different, but he kind of just misjudged things, and yeah, the ball went out of bounds. But again, good win for Bayern Munich. We needed that win. I thought I liked how they played, but again, it wasn't perfect. So I want to give out some match awards now, as we always do. Man of the match, Kim Min-jae. I don't know what else there is to say about Kim that I didn't say already when I was describing his goal, but a great match overall. The entirety of the match, his defending was great. The Robin, I'm going to give to Joshua Kimmich, and I'm kind of running out of ways to describe how important Kimmich is to the team, but I think I'll just leave it as there are, in my opinion, 3 guys that are the most important to this team, where if they get hurt or if they're out, we are in big trouble, and that's Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, and the third is actually Joshua Kimmich. I just think he's so important to this team and how they play that without him, I really don't know what they would do. The guy's played every single minute so far this year under Vincent Kompany. It's absolutely crazy. He's the Energizer Bunny. My defender of the match, I'm giving to Alphonso Davies. Again, another match where I thought he was very active in the attack and defended greatly. Just really pocketed And again, he put in some crosses and put in some contributions to the attack that could have been assists on another day if the finishing would have been better. But really, Upa did amazing too. And my underrated player of the match was Konrad Laimer. At right back there, Leimer's playing out of position, but he did a great job, as he always does, of running up and down the pitch. I mean, Tuchel called him a dog. Some people call him horse lungs. He really is a guy who's going to give the best of his ability, give an insane level of effort every single match. And in this one, I thought he did some nice things on offense especially. But yeah, again, I would have liked to shout out Upamecano as well, because he played a great match throughout. Yeah, the attackers, they all had their moments of being decent, and they all had their moments of maybe not finishing. I thought Zane had a nice match. He didn't do enough to really blow everybody out of the water, but I thought he had a lot of good chances and did great in creation. I also wanted to mention that I thought Goretzka had a good match, which was very nice to see. Goretzka getting some minutes now, getting some starting minutes, which is cool to see. I think the team's going to need him over this stretch of kind of tougher matches, and just a lot of matches. Really 2 a week Bayern's playing at this point. But yeah, Goretzka had a nice match, I thought. Didn't do anything horrible. Obviously, he didn't get on the score sheet or do anything incredibly spectacular, but he looked like he belonged. And to look like you belong in a high-level Champions League match is certainly saying something, so congrats to him for doing all right. I think that's the last thing I got to say about this match, so let's just preview the next couple, because by the time this one comes out, it's going to be right around the corner. But Der Klassiker is this weekend. Bayern travels to play Borussia Dortmund on the road, and that's going to be a good one. Dortmund has been extremely up and down this season. I've watched a good amount of their matches. They seem to have this Jekyll and Hyde nature of them, where at home, which is where this match will be, they are very good, very solid, incredible, even at times, and living up to their potential. They have a great lineup. If you look at Dortmund's roster up and down, they should be much higher in the table. They're sitting at 5th right now, and Bayern, as we know, is 1st. But Dortmund's away matches have been awful. They've lost some matches that they really shouldn't have lost. They got bounced from the Pokal. They've not looked great in the Bundesliga either, especially away, like I said. But, I think that they will eventually start to do better, but I do think that Bayern's going to win this one. I'll be putting out my preview in the coming days on Twitter, so be sure to check that out for Jim and I's official predictions and all the information you need to know about that match. But yeah, Nuri Sahin is their coach this year. He's a new coach, and I think he's trying to maybe change their style a little bit, have them play slightly more aggressively than they're used to, and yeah, maybe just the chemistry between all their players isn't quite linking up. So they're kind of stuck in this half ground of, being this last year, this incredibly solid defensive team, now kind of morphing their tactics to maybe play a little bit more on the front foot and play a little bit more of that Bundesliga modern day football style. So something seems to be getting lost in translation at the moment. They're not doing their best, but hey, it's Der Klassiker, and it's going to be a good match regardless, I think. Especially at Dortmund, that yellow wall is something to behold there. But again, I'm just looking forward to watching that one. And then the following week, Bayern Munich plays Bayer Leverkusen in the DFB Pokal Round of 16. So that's one you just got to be, foaming at the mouth to see, because that one, it's a clash of the Titans. Again, Dortmund's not having their best season this year, Leverkusen's not having their best season this year as compared to last year, but their roster as well is very good, and they, I think, have the horses to at least run with Bayern. But if Bayern plays their best, I'm completely sure that they will be able to win both of these matches. So there's a lot coming, and yeah, just tune in, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, listen to us on Apple and Spotify, everywhere you can, because we're going to be putting out a lot of cool content as as the season ramps up here. And now, before I hand things over to Jim to, flesh out this episode with his thoughts on the Chelsea-Heidenheim match, I thought I would just pop in here and give a couple of my thoughts as well, because I just finished up watching the match, and yeah, Chelsea beat Heidenheim 2-0 in the Conference League. But I have a few things to say about it. So, 51st minute, we saw the first goal of the match, and Nkunku scored, essentially assisted by Sancho. I don't think he got that one on the score sheet, but, I'm going to count that as an assist from him. There might have been a deflection or something in there, but, then the 86th minute, Mudryk got his goal. Really an incredible goal, top bins. So, go check that one out if you want to check out a certain moment from the match. That would have been my moment for this match. But yeah, I think overall I just want to mention that I thought Heidenheim played a great game. My man of the match was actually Jorgensen, Chelsea's keeper, because it seemed like the man had 10 improbable saves in this one. But yeah, so respect to Heidenheim, because they put together a good game plan and they decided to try to play with Chelsea, not back down, not park the bus, and that really led to an open, fun, exciting match to watch. And yeah, on a different day, I think some of Heidenheim's goals might have fallen. That's not to say that Chelsea didn't deserve to win. I thought Chelsea definitely did deserve to win. Muller, Heidenheim's keeper, actually had a number of great saves as well. So yeah, this was just an awesome match to watch. But yeah, I just wanted to note Frank Schmidt, Heidenheim's coach. I've talked about Heidenheim quite a bit in their meteoric, improbable rise into the Bundesliga, but their coach, Frank Schmidt, has been with the club for a million years. He was a player on the club and took the team, at least from the 5th division, into the Bundesliga with very little money. They're such a small town. I think their entire town has maybe 50,000 or so folks living in it. But yeah, again, I have a soft spot for Heidenheim, if you couldn't tell. By listening to this show so far, I like them a lot, so I'm going to give them their flowers. I actually thought that they had the better first half. I think Chelsea had a decent first half, but I thought Chelsea's midfield and their back line was kind of weaker. There was a lot of space being awarded to Heidenheim in the midfield, and Heidenheim punished Chelsea for it, I would say, by ripping off shot after shot, it seemed, at certain points in the match. Paul Warner, who's a loanee actually from Bayern Munich, 18-year-old kid who could potentially replace Thomas Muller with that sort of 10 style of play. Now, Bayern has Jamal Musiala playing the 10 already, and Florian Wirtz on the sights to come in, so they might have a little bit of an overload and have to get creative at that position. I actually believe companies said that Warner could play on the wing, which would be interesting, but yeah, anyways, Warner had 2 incredible shots that I'm remembering, maybe more, but 2 shots that really could have been goals that were awesome saves by Jorgensen, one in the first half and one in the second half. So yeah, like I said, overall, I think it was a great great start from Heidenheim, and a good match from Heidenheim overall, but Chelsea was the better team. So yeah, don't get it twisted. Chelsea was the better team there. Jorgensen was my man of the match. I actually put Mudryk as my Robin for that second goal. It was incredible, and he had a very good match overall. My, I guess second Robin, I'll give it as, would be Nkunku. He scored that first goal and had a good match overall. He had other goal opportunities that were maybe a great save by Muller, Heidenheim's keeper, or, he just barely missed or something. Nkunku had a good game. And again, he just continues this stretch in the Conference League where he's scoring all these matches. And I think it's time that Nkunku gets some more meaningful Premier League minutes. Chelsea plays Villa this weekend, and I think that's going to be a good match, so we'll see what happens there. We'll see if Enzo Maresca makes any changes in the lineup. But yeah, then we also have my underrated player of the match, which was Jadon Sancho. I thought Sancho had a very good, very sneakily good, underrated match. He got that one assist. I believe he got the assist to Mudryk's goal, but he also had that almost assist to Nkunku. And Sancho, to me, is just proving to be a creative player who can dribble through guys, whereas Neto, on the other hand, is more of a speedster and beats people with his pace. Sancho is, yeah, incredibly creative and still a vital part of this Chelsea team. I think he's going to get some more Premier League minutes as well. But yeah, that's where I think I'm going to wrap things up for this one and send it off to Jim, because I thought Chelsea's attackers were the more meaningful players in this match. And then Jorgensen, of course. I didn't think Chelsea's midfield or defense did anything really to blow my socks off. So that's all I wanted to say. And Jim, you're up now. Take it away.
Chelsea 2, Heidenheim 0. And it seemed like a fun and open Conference League match. Caught some of it live during Thanksgiving while watching the Bears and the Lions and chatting with family members in the beautiful city of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Also caught the highlights late last night laying in bed, but it seemed like both teams had a chance to score multiple goals throughout the match. The XGs ended up being fairly high for each team, but Chelsea ended up winning the match 2-0. I thought it was a great result for Chelsea. With this B team that they've been using in the Conference League, it was important for that squad to go up against a team that had some legit talent. Heidenheim has a special 18-year-old talent in Paul Vanner, and they were decent last year in the Bundesliga. They've been struggling this year, but they've been a consistent team really for 17 years under Frank Schmidt, and their fan base is exciting. For Chelsea to go to Germany, it was still an effort that they had to put out that would be good enough to get the win. So I'm very happy. I thought Nkunku, it was great to see him get a goal as he scored in every single Conference League match. And always good to see Mudryk get a goal. Everybody knows I love Misha Mudryk. His goal was a banger, top bins to put the game away. And overall, it was a great day. Jorgensen, probably going to be the man of the match. Some of the saves he had were quite incredible. And is he pushing Robert Sanchez to the brink? Is he going to get a chance at a Premier League start? We'll see. I'm not necessarily expecting it still at this point. It seems like Maresca is pretty intent on having Sanchez start, but we'll see. Crazy things can happen. I thought the back line wasn't outstanding, but they were fine. Vega, Badiashile, Disasi, and Tosin is what it is. They didn't allow any goals, but they weren't incredible either. Cassidy and Dewsbury Hall, I thought they were both pretty solid in the midfield. Cassidy picks up that second yellow late, which I didn't catch, but ends up getting taken off with a red. Doesn't really matter at that point, but I think KDH maybe had his best start as a blue, which is exciting to see. Maybe he'll be better in these Squad B games going forward. And then Nkunku in the 10 was great to see. Guiu up top. Then he had Sancho and Mudryk in the game as well. And I thought all of them had their moments. Sancho with an assist, basically 2 assists in the match, which was awesome to see. He's been really providing a lot in that role with assisting. He's not very athletic, not fast, but I think what he can do with the ball at his feet, dribbling, finding players in tight spaces, is important. And it's an element he can add in both the A squad and the B squad. Mudryk, I just can't talk enough about, because he has been so improving with this team under Maresca. It's so exciting to see. Mark Guiu probably should have had a goal, maybe even 2. I think he's just too young. I don't think he has his legs under him. I don't know if he gets nervous, but he gets himself in a lot of really good spots and just can't seem to put away goals. Hopefully he can do that more going forward. He's never going to be pushing for a Prem spot. I think he's still a guy that if you bring in another striker next year, you're probably going to see him go on loan somewhere, maybe back to La Liga. It'll be interesting to watch. But yeah, overall this match, like I said, open, lots of chances. Either team could have put a goal or 2 more away. I do think Chelsea were deserving to win. They were the better side. They controlled more of the match, 67% possession. So that was great to see. But these matches, you never know what can happen. And now Chelsea have 2 remaining in the UECL. They need 3 points to clinch the top spot, I believe, at this point, or at least to clinch a home match in the next round. So they'll easily get that. And it'll be exciting to watch, because I think Maresca will be more willing to play some younger academy guys that are looking for some time. And that's what's going to be awesome to see. So I'm excited. Chelsea now face Aston Villa on Sunday. Going to be a great match, back at the bridge. That's what really matters. What really matters is if this A squad can get a win in the Premier League following a B squad win in the Conference League. Because when you rest your top players, they need to be able to follow it up with a big win in the Premier League. I think they'll do it. I think they'll beat Aston Villa. I'm calling 3-1. I think it's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it. And as always, up the Chelsea.